Daejeon is different from Seoul. Um, in fact, if you talk to Koreans on the street, or if you tell them that, like, if you meet Koreans here in the United States and tell them that you lived in Daejeon, they'll be like, "Oh wow, you lived in the countryside," even though Daejeon is really about the size of Salt Lake City. It's funny, just because Seoul is so huge. They consider it the countryside. And most of the mission has actually quite a lot of farmland and countryside areas. But granted, there are plenty of areas, though, especially in Daejeon, that have that very city-like feel. So you'll have a chance on your mission to see both, for sure. In Daejeon specifically, you have access, I guess, to a little more things you probably get in the United States. So because they have a Costco there, which is really nice. It's not there's like 4 areas in Daejeon though, so you may not be able to get access to that unless you serve in that specific area. But you won't never have a hard time finding something that you want from the United States. There are obviously a few things that you can't get in Korea. But Korea either has something really close to it, or either has something really close to, or you can definitely find it if it's something that you really want. That was one of the things I really liked about Korea, is that I never really had a hard time finding things that I really wanted to eat. As far as day-to-day life, though, the Daejeon mission is a mission. You're going to get up at 6:30 in the morning. You're going to get ready and do your exercise for the day, do your personal study, and do your language study, and then you're going to go to work. That's how missionary work is, and that's really the secret of missionary work. That's how it gets done. Is you go to work, and then the Lord sends you miracles. And so, as far as wherever you serve, whichever area you serve in Daejeon, the experiences are still going to be similar as far as day-to-day life. You're going to go do missionary work, and you're going to meet lots of different people. You're not going to meet the same type of people for sure, just because if you serve in Daejeon, you'll meet the city people, and if you serve in the countryside or some of the areas outside of Daejeon, you meet some members who might have some rice farms, and so you may have a chance to do some service there. Obviously, serving in Daejeon, though, it's a little busier, so you have a better chance of meeting more people. So it's easier to get that 140 contacts that we always tried to push for during the week. And there's plenty of places to visit in Daejeon for sure. There's lots of cultural, historic sites to see that are really cool. At the same time, you're a missionary, so you probably won't get an opportunity to see a lot of those cultural things. You'll see, but you'll get to see enough, I think, to be satisfied, because really your purpose there is to help the Koreans come unto Christ. And so day-to-day life is really just having lots of fun and experiences, and emotionally stirring experiences, meeting and interacting with Koreans and telling them about the church. So one of the nice things about Korea is that because it's a first world country, that it's still very well developed, even out in those countryside areas. That there's places to walk. They have a very good bus system. So the mission doesn't have at least when I was there, they only have like 1 or 2 areas that people or elders rode bikes. So typically, most of the time, you'll travel either in a taxi or a bus or walk. On occasion, when you go to zone conferences, you'll take the high-speed train. They have a really nice 200-mile-an-hour train that goes throughout the country now. It's really awesome. It's a super awesome train. When I was there, we actually took the slower trains because those are typically cheaper, and the high-speed rails actually didn't go to all the areas. But now I believe it's finished, and so now the high-speed rail can go to more areas. And so I got to ride I did get to ride the high-speed rail probably a little more often. Housing is pretty good in Korea. Chances are you probably sleep on the floor. Just throwing that out there. We have these foam mats that are about that thick. They call them, I think, yos. And they're fold-out mats. They're comfortable. Some areas they had mattresses. I believe there was one nice area up in the northern zone that had mattresses that were really nice. But nowhere where I served, we had a decent mattress. But I was fine. I actually once slept on a box spring, but that's another story entirely. That was not very fun. I eventually got replaced after I left. I should have called the mission home earlier. Oh well. But the housing is very adequate. When I was there, actually, they used to have some areas. They had missionaries stay in juteks. Juteks are little houses that were built after the Korean War because Korea needed a way to build cheap housing after much of the country had been bombarded because of the Korean War. And so they built these houses, cement and steel, and they were cheap. And the funny thing is, like, when you look at maps of these jutek areas where they have hundreds of juteks everywhere, when you're trying to find like a less active, it takes hours to find them because the way they built it was like they would build one house and they would spray paint number 1 on it, and they would build number 2 like on the other side of the lot or something like that. It wasn't built in a numerical order. And so when you look at the map, it just looks like this massive brain or like cauliflower of houses that are just bunched together with little paths going in between it. And so you're looking for one house and you find like number 60 and you're like, oh, it's 62. Okay, it's got to be close by. It's not. It's like on the other side or something like that. And so but because those houses are so old and they're actually kind of falling apart, the Korea has actually been going through and trying to replace those. So typically most areas now, the elders are housed in apartments that are pretty good quality, I would say. You won't have a dryer. That's something that's probably really important to know. You'll hang dry your clothes. So when you get back, the dryer will be one of the greatest inventions you've seen in a long time. That was one of the greatest feelings after getting back. I can have nice warm clothes. So yeah, you won't have a dryer, but that's something that's not really that big of a deal. While you're there, buy some Korean ties. They make fabulous ties. Don't go overboard, obviously. Like they have ties that have huge rhinestones that are about that big on them. Most mission presidents don't like those ties and they won't let you wear them just because they're not appropriate for the missionary attire, I think. And people, I guess, might think you're weird. But they do have some like little tiny jewel ties or sparkly ties that are just really fun. And they're usually really cheap too. Like we would go down to Gwangju, which is way down south, and there was this tie store where this lady worked, and she would let us buy a whole bunch of ties for really cheap. She probably got a lot of business from missionaries. We would go in there all the time. It was great.